Okay guys, I'm here today with Guillermo Mendes, huge honor for me. Guys, very special day, one day after he made his very first black belt world champion IBJJF, Tainan, right Guillermo? Yeah. So how do you feel?
And I answered this question a lot of times, like yesterday. It's a very special feeling. Like not just because he was the first black belt, adult black belt champion from this academy, but because he started in the kids program, and like I have been like with him throughout his whole career. Like I saw him like in the juvenile, like blue, purple, brown, and now black belt. And I remember like the story when he first came here, like was around 10 kids when he was 13. And he came to visit with his dad. We get a lot of visitors whenever it's like 10 kids time. And he was training, and then after the training, he came to me and said, "Can I talk to you?" And then I said, "Yeah, let's talk." And then I was like, "Man, like it's just like a 14-year-old, like." But like he came to me and was like, "I want to move and train here full time." And I was like, "Oh, like he's too young like to do that." And he was like, "Oh, my dad already like agreed, like he's gonna let me do that. I just want to know if like you would help me out and train me because I want to be a world champion."
Right, so
and man, like it's amazing because like that really caught my eyes and like made me like realize like how mature he was for his age, you know. And since then, like he has been like living here, and just like he won everything in every belt level. And our goal was always, even when he was a lower belt, I think this is a good advice for all the competitors. Like you need to focus in the main division, you know, in the black belt. He was a blue belt. We were already like watching the black belts in his weight division, the division that he was going to be. We believed he would be, and we were shaping his jiu-jitsu based on that division, how to win that division, you know, like. I feel like a lot of people like they made the mistake of thinking about the division that they're in. Let's say you're a blue belt or a purple belt, you're thinking just about that division, and then you don't think ahead. And a lot of times the game that you need to use to win purple and blue is not the same that will work in the black belt.
And I remember you guys, because when you guys were blue and purple belt, you guys were already like investigating what was going on in the black belt as
well. We were doing exactly like that. I remember like when Rafa was fighting, like we were in the purple belt, and Frazado was fighting Cobrinha in the black belt, and like we were in the same weight division, and then Rafa was like the main training partner for Frazado, and I remember that all he was thinking about is like, one day, like in a couple of years, I'll be in that division, and that's my goal. So I need to pass Frazado's level because then I know I'll be like able to beat Cobrinha. It's like the same thing. I think this knowledge, like being an athlete and like having this kind of mindset, helped me a lot to shape like the athletes that I train today. And man, the main goal was winning black belt worlds in the first year, like make it this statement, you know, and just I didn't show the quality of the work. I remember in the beginning of the year we sat down together and. We were like, let's compete everything and try to face every opponent that we can, because then when it gets to worlds, you look to the bracket, you know like how it feels to compete against all these guys. And this is something that's also really important for competitors, because people, they think, like I'm not gonna compete in any competition, I'm gonna save myself for worlds, and you just train the academy, but you don't get all the experience of competing against the people that are gonna be there. So whenever we look at the bracket, like he competed against like 85% of the people that were in the bracket already, and he beat them. So for a first year, a black belt, that's a lot of confidence. You know, like there were like, I think the only people that he had not fight on his side of like 2 or 3 guys in the division that he had never fight before, and that was just like a lot of confidence for us. We knew that once we got to those guys, it would be a little bit more challenging, because then you have to figure out what level the guys are. But yeah, like was just like how we planned it. Like the fights were, we were able to apply a lot of the techniques, our system, like the style, showcase like his guard, his passing. So it was amazing. I think was like whenever I think about a great start for a black belt, like he had like probably like one of the best like black belt like debuts of all time. Like won like basically everything, and not just winning, but showing like beautiful jiu-jitsu and very mature for his age. Like at only 21,
man, that's crazy. 21 years old.
You get into a division as the favorite and just dominating people like the way he is. Like is just amazing. It shows that like if we continue to work, like he is set up to be like one of the greatest ever, and I think he has a chance to break Marcelo's record in the division. I think it's 5 world titles, so he has 1 now. 4 more to go to tie Marcelo's record, and then try to break that record.
Man, that's impressive. Oh, Gui, and I think it's so cool what's going on, because this is almost like to confirm the transition from you as an athlete when you retired a few years ago, and now to become one of the best coaches. Like, so how do you feel about that?
To me, like it's I have been doing that for a couple of years. I stopped competing in 2014 was my last year, and so I have like almost like 7 years like doing that. Whenever you think like 7 years is the time that it takes from taking a kid to the black belt division, like it's my first
you didn't take a break.
Yeah, was my first. Like as soon as I stopped competing, like I initiate this this part of my career, and I think this was my first year like having the chance to show my work, and it's always like whenever you win, it's always great, you know. Like I felt so accomplished yesterday. I was talking to people, and I felt more emotional and more accomplished yesterday than I felt like winning my 4 world titles. It's a different feeling. I feel like as an athlete, whenever you put the work, and it's something that you kind of like build the expectations, and you know like how it's gonna play out, especially at that level. But as a coach, like it's not just you, it's you and somebody else. So there's a lot going on. You have to really build that trust between you and the student, and you really need to build that connection on the mat, where like you know what the person's capable of doing, you know what the level of the person is, what the chances of winning are, and I think like what happens with us is that we are very passionate about jiu-jitsu, and we like jiu-jitsu. We like to study jiu-jitsu a lot, so we sit down, we watch like the footage of like the opponents, and like we start talking about this is what he does that we think it's wrong, this is what we think it's good, so let's attack like this part of his game. And I think like when we work together, it's a very powerful combination, because we are so passionate about it, and we put so much work that we see results.
Yeah. No, again, we don't talk about Taina here, but there was a lot more besides Taina, right? So Mateus won as a brown belt, and
we got 11. Man, it's one impressive. Single academy when we got 11 gold medals.
That's
and this was the first year that we got every belt level. So we had champions in the blue, purple, brown, and black. And like I told you before in a different interview, I think this is like the main thing that I'm proud about. The work that we do in the academy is like just this ability to renew like the champions of every belt, you know, like every year, like sending more people to the blue belt, juvenile, and then these people moving to purple, brown, and eventually you're gonna have a big team of black belts that started like in the kids program here. And I think for me as a professor, this is the best scenario, because it shows not just that I'm able to guide people to win the competition, but able to build people. And I think this is a big difference whenever you see somebody, if you get a student that comes in your academy and he's already a black belt and he just wants to use the training to prepare himself and go to the competition is one thing, but I think building someone from the scratch and like making that person go all the way up to become a black belt world champion, it's a lot of work. It's a huge investment, and you really need to have a system. Otherwise, like you're not able to make it. You know, like if you don't have a system, like you're not gonna make a kid become a black belt world champion. And I think like this, I think yesterday that was like the main thing for me. It was like I was able to prove that our system works, because a lot of people could think like, he's just like making like juveniles that have a lot of talent and train a lot win. He's making like a purple belts win, but no, this kid went from like kids division to a black belt world title in the first year as a black belt. This is a big deal, because not everybody is able to accomplish that.
No, in such a short time.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's like, I think like it was like 3 years ago he was a blue belt.
Yeah.
So like, when you think about that, it's I'm very proud. It's cool. Like he's like a family member for me, and this is just the beginning. I know that a lot of great things will happen, and not just with him, but he's the first one that's opening the doors for a lot of people.
Yeah, no. Listening to everything you said, it almost looked like to me for your career as a coach, like when you get the black belt is when everything started. Like I think everything's gonna start after you got this very first black belt world champion.
And I think like I was telling like one person this morning, you know, I think like every time you do something great like this, you set a different standard for the people that are coming up. I think it's really important for the kids that we have in the kids program to see a juvenile like Cole winning the ADCC trials at 16-year-old.
Yeah, man, this is
because
super
like
impressive.
you're gonna be like, wow, like what like if Cole was able to accomplish that, if I work as hard as him and have the same kind of discipline, I'll be able to accomplish.
He also won the world as a purple belt, right?
Yeah.
Man,
so like
impressive.
it's you know, like it's just everything started like falling into place whenever like the system is strong. And I know like this year was great for me as an instructor. Basically like every year it's like getting better, because I'm having a better chance of like showing my work at the highest level. Like before I only had a group of like very young people, like with like 16, 17 years old. But now like with them like merging into black belt and like fighting ADCC trials, and I'm gonna have Cole, he's gonna be 17 by the time like he's fighting ADCC. Like it's just like, it's a huge chance for me as a coach to show my work, and that's what I wanted. You know, it's like competing at Worlds. If you're an athlete, like you need to have that platform for you to display your work. You know, it's not just you saying like, I'm good, or like I do my work is good. You need to prove it, and like the only way to prove it is like displaying it at the highest level.
Yeah. Rafael was the youngest one to win the
ADCC.
Yeah, so there's a chance Cole can break his record.
And that's the goal, right? Like when you're, I mean,
yeah,
your goal as a coach should be to build someone that is a better version of yourself always. And like if you don't have this desire, like you're not a great instructor, you know. And I think that's something that we both have. Just me and Rafa, like we really want people that are here under us to do better than what we did, you know, because that's gonna be like a sign of us succeeding in the next stage of our lives as a coach, as a professor, as a leader.
Yeah, man, that's super impressive. Gui, and I love how you systematize everything. Like, and I watch your instructions and the understanding the top distance, like how you break down, like you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Same thing from Boro.
Yeah.
And now I'm listening you saying same thing about as a coach as well for the students. So can you talk a little bit about that? I know you won't be able to explain everything. You would probably need like 5 hours interview, but what's the secret there?
I just think like everything needs to be planned. You know, like it doesn't matter if it's your career in Jiu-Jitsu or like anywhere else, or the way you see the techniques. Everything that's random and you're just living the moment. I feel like it's hard for us to see progress, and it's harder for us it's very hard for us to get motivated, you know. And that's how I work with athletes, and that's how I work with my classes when I'm teaching classes, and that's how I work it with the instructionals too. Like I build it in a way where we have goals to be accomplished, and once you achieve that goals, you learn that step by step, then you are one step further, you know, and then you're ready to learn something else, or you're ready to do something else. And it's basically the same thing that I learned in jiu-jitsu is like, if you're gonna learn top, like let's learn the concepts like step by step. I use distance to explain the concepts from top, then I use for bottom, but like the same style of like thinking and applies to building your career in jiu-jitsu. You need to set up plans, and then that are achievable, and then you need to put the work that will take you to that goal. And that's exactly what we did. Like whenever we start the year, like with every athlete or every top athlete that has this commitment, like I always try to plan with them, like what they're gonna compete and what the final goal is, and like whenever they accomplish everything, we analyze and we see, look, like you really did everything that you went above and beyond to make that happen, and that's why that happened, and this is a huge motivation for the person. And when they don't accomplish it, we always try to analyze what went wrong, and we try to correct that and like do it again, and a lot of times we get it right.
Yeah, no man, that's super impressive. So this place here, this gym, you guys achieved 11 gold medals in the last weekend in the world. Man, that's impressive. On every belt, blue, purple, brown, and black.
Yeah, that was like.
Yeah, I saw you running around in the gymnasium. Go here, go there, go there.
It's cool because man, like it's very stressful as a coach. Not just running around or like staying all day in the competition, but like you do get nervous for the fight. Like especially at the highest level, whenever you're coaching like people that are competing against top athletes, like people that you know, like they are like fully dedicated to jiu-jitsu. It becomes more stressful because you know there's a higher risk of losing. And I just think like, man, like it's I always say that's like it's a roller coaster of emotions when you go to the competition. You have great moments, but you have some lows that you have to like hold yourself strong, like especially as a coach, because you take a team to the tournament and you're gonna have a lot of wins, but you're gonna have some losses too that will hurt really bad. But you have to be able like to pick yourself up and be ready to help the next person, you know. And that's something that I learned. Like that happened to me in the last 2 days. Like I had 2 athletes that were ready to win 2 divisions. I had Jonathan and Taina that had like great chances of winning. And in the first match, Jonathan broke his finger in the middle of the match. I was telling you. And with 5 minutes, like I saw the doctors like stopping the match. The referee stopped and the doctors went there, and I thought he was bleeding. That happens all the time, like when someone gets scratched. And whenever like he looked at me, we made eye contact, and he showed his hand, like his finger was like broken to the side like this. And that moment was super frustrating because whenever something like this happens, like I know you know that it's impossible for the person to win the tournament. Maybe he's gonna endure like and like win that fight, but like it's impossible. Like in the black belt division, it's impossible if you're not 100% or very close to 100%. Like it's impossible for you to win, and that broke my heart, you know, like because I saw all the work and I really believed he was going to win, but I had to hold like it together, and then like 10 minutes later, I was there coaching Tainan to win like his first match, so it was very, very stressful. Like I had a rough day, and then the next day I was able to watch like Tainan win like his quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So I know it's fun, but it's stressful. You know, it's something that you need to. It's like winning worlds as an athlete. You need to be. If you want to have that glory of like achieving like your goals, you need to pay the price, you know. And paying the price as a coach is like going through all the emotions, and it's not that easy.
Yeah. Well, Gui, and about your instructional courses, so first one you made was understanding the top distance. Second one, understanding the bar. Yeah. And what's next now? What goes in your mind, like?
I'm gonna go to Brazil now, and like I'm thinking like I have some options, but like I'm gonna either do back I want to do like understanding attacks from the back.
And I think in the lightweight division, you were probably like the best back taker.
I think like I remember like there was we have a Grace magazine. You remember like how where there Hickson like he did like quote where like he said that the Mendes like taking the back or like the Grace is mounting. Like if like a Grace like mount on somebody, they will finish. And like me and my brother, every time we took the back, it's a finish. And like you can see the same thing with my students. Like yesterday, Tainan fought Tommy, which is like another very high level athlete from the middleweight, from the middleweight division. And he was able to take the back and finish.
No, and that match was amazing because Tommy almost went to his back
and then he made a mistake and was not able to finish. And Tainan, whenever he had his chance, he was able to finish. And I think it's a good proof of like the quality of our back attacks, because this is something that we train a lot. We do a lot of specific training. We do a lot of details on how to stay tight and how to be patient to wait for the right moment to finish. A lot of people they go too fast, trying to squeeze the choke, and they are not well placed on the back, and they end up losing the position.
No, and I love it because the whole berimbolo era that you guys kind of like created was all about go to the back from the guard, you know, like, and figure out different ways to go.
Because
to
like the whole thing was taking like going from either guard or top to the most dominant position in jiu-jitsu, that is the back, and getting there. You can rest, like you're gonna be recovering while the other person is struggling and they are like super tense, and then from there you basically pick the time that you're gonna finish the fight. You know, like it's like it's the best spot to be because you're behind the person cannot really see you, and they are like you can rest in that position while you choose when's the right moment to finish. And I don't think you can do that from any other position in jiu-jitsu.
That's true.
Like even mount, that's a very dominant position. There's a lot of stress of the person pushing you and you're getting off balance and almost losing the position. From the back, like, is the position that you're basically resting while the other person is totally stressed.
Yeah, no, and I think especially for the very light guys, many times they're crazy flexible, like rubber. It's kind of hard to imagine passing that person's guard, for example, and going to the back is almost like a path, right?
Yeah, and like I think that happened like whenever people want to study, if they watch Tainan against Tommy, I think it will be a good way for them to study. And a lot of like the techniques that I want to show, like you're gonna be able to see just in that fight, like the way, like he used a lot of the passing techniques that I already showed. So like Tommy was using a lot of like the lasso guard against Tainan because he wanted to stop the movement. So he was using lasso in a way of like keeping Tainan in front of him, and that didn't stop Tainan from like moving side to side because Tainan was managing the distance really well. So you can watch how Tommy was stressed because he was always moving and trying to escape. And one thing as a competitor, like I always tell my students, especially the high level like students like this, you need to be patient. A black belt match is 10 minutes.
Yep.
So like you cannot try or have the expectation that you're gonna win the match in the first 3 minutes, because that will make you get frustrated if you don't achieve that goal.
Yep.
So you need to slowly, especially against tough opponents, you need to slowly break it down and gain your confidence and make the person lose their confidence until you're able to find the right moment to finish or stabilize a pass. So I think like Tainan and Tommy was a very good match, a match that I liked a lot because it showed like how much of a champion Tainan is. Like he started the match winning, like he swept and he was winning 2-0, and then Tommy did a really good move where he jumped, like he does like this kind of attacks where like he comes out of nowhere and like attacks you, and we were expecting that. Like I trained Tommy before when he was a purple belt, so I kind of knew what to expect. And
Tommy has...
Yeah, he used to come and train here all the way to purple belt. When he was purple, and when he was like purple, his full purple belt was like 2 years. So like I had a lot of experience like coaching him and coaching Tainan, so I know the difference between both of them, and that gave me a lot of leverage like coaching because I know how Tommy thinks and I know Tainan. So like
no, and you're great with that. Like I heard that with Rafa, you were the one like studying all his opponents even more than him and debating
more than seeing the difference in jiu-jitsu, I know their mentality and their approach to competition. So the way they think and the way they face that pressure, that helped me a lot because I kept pushing Tainan to break Tommy. Like Tainan was at one point, there was like 6 minutes left in the match, and Tainan was losing by 2 advantage, but he was on top. And I was just telling him, look, stay calm, but don't stop attacking. You have 6 minutes and we're gonna break him. And he kept attacking until Tom like made a mistake because he was frustrated and tired. And then Tainan attacked his back, was able to secure the back, put the hooks in, and go for the choke.
That's incredible.
I think in that fight you can see a lot of like the distance control from top with Tainan. Like the way he's able to break down a guard where normally people just stop and they can't move. But like he was in the lasso, but he was like leg trapping and moving side to side. So you're gonna see a lot of like the concepts that I show in that instructional, and you're gonna see like how good he is and like how we use our system to take the back, because he went for a really tight back attack, and like you said, you see a contrast in between the two. Like when Tommy went to the back, there was a rush to finish. And that rush to finish cost him the position. He lost the position when on bottom. And with Tainan, like he was able to secure the position, get the proper angle before he was able to finish. And I think that just that understanding like shows like how mature like Tainan is in his first year as a black belt, you know, and like and it shows the quality of the technique and the system as well.
No, that's amazing. Okay, 2 more questions and then I finish it. So I think when I think about like a jiu-jitsu coach, I almost like 2 different directions, and you cover both, which is very impressive. So there are some jiu-jitsu coaches that are more like leaders, and they put together a group of very tough people, and then they succeed. There are other jiu-jitsu coaches that they're great teaching techniques, but not as good as a leader. You are doing both. Like you are being able to create this environment that has a ton of like great kids training together, and everything goes well. And you are also like the little scientist who is studying everybody and this and that. So what goes in your mind? How did you succeed doing that? Like, what was the secret behind it? Like,
I think I'm naturally more of the guy that studies a lot because I'm very passionate about jiu-jitsu. Like I'm here every day, and like I teach competition training, I teach fundamentals class in the morning. So naturally, I was always the person that likes to study jiu-jitsu because I'm so passionate about it. Like I watch matches like Tainan. Like I watched all Tainan's matches like probably like 3-4 times already. Like it happened like less than 24 hours ago. You know, because I want to study and I want to find ways.
So it's like his match from yesterday.
I watched that a lot of times already. Because for me, it's not something that I feel like an obligation, like I have to do.
But you enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's something that like it's just material for me to keep improving in like doing
that's
better,
impressive.
you know, and that's how I do, like I always did as an athlete, and like I like to do, it's part of like my everyday routine. Like I like to study jiu-jitsu and I like to explore different options and get better. And I had the opportunity to experience like leadership whenever like we opened the academy, and I always had a goal of having a strong kids team, because I started as a kid and I know that if you have a strong base, like a strong foundation in your program, like it's a never-ending like process, because you're always every year gonna have a new group of students that will fill up the divisions. So with that, like I think I learned a lot over the years how to deal with people and how to become a leader and how to build the right expectations based on people's personality, because it's something that it's really important too. I think like if you have a group of people, you gotta understand that they're all different. They all have maybe different goals, and even if they have the same goals, they have different background and different personalities. And as an instructor, as a coach, I think you have to understand people so you can take them to the right direction based on the way like they see things, you know. And of course, like you're gonna start teaching and implementing things that you believe it's right. But like mainly, what I learned, I feel like if you compare me now with myself when I started coaching, I'm way more flexible now, and I wait for people to really show that they want to be a champion. Before, I was kind of like trying to fish them, and like you can be a champion, you can be a champion, you can, because based on their talent on the mat. Right now, like I don't do that. Like I let it be, you know, and I watch, and I let. Right now, I already have more experience too, and like people trust the work more, so I feel like I wait for them to come and say, look, like I really want to do it, like what should I do? And basically then like it starts like everything starts to happen, because if they are the ones requesting for the attention, for the help, like normally it's like they're willing to put the work.
Got it. Gui, last question. So I think like when I look to you and Rafa, you guys pretty much built the Jiu-Jitsu dream, right? You guys had a crazy successful career. You guys opened one of the most beautiful Jiu-Jitsu gyms, and now you guys have one of the strongest competition team. So where do you see yourself in the next, I would say 10 years, but I'm going to say 7 years, because you retired 7 years ago. And where do you see yourself and your work 7 years from now?
Like, this is in this aspect of like teaching and like coaching in the academy. Like, I'm not 100% sure yet. I had this goal of like making like this first group of like kids become a black belt world champion as a way to like prove my point and like show the quality of my work. I will do it for probably like a couple more generations from our academy.
Yep.
But I want to eventually like get a person that like Tynan or like some of the other guys that we have that will become strong leaders based on like the way I'm training them and the way like their personality is, and they will take my place as like the main coach, main instructor. And then like I'll keep doing it for like forever because I'm passionate, like I said, but like I'm not gonna be the main person in the spotlight, and I'm gonna kind of be on the side while they take like will be their turn to be the main coach, you know.
No, that's an amazing dream, because you build your career as an athlete, then you become a coach. Now you want to build champions, and then you want to build like coach champions too.
I want to make the students have like the same path that I had. Like if they have this desire. And I think go full cycle, you know, and then when we go full cycle from being like a kid with a dream to a black belt world champion or multiple time world champion to become a successful instructor that is able to build champions, I think you basically achieve like your full cycle in Jiu-Jitsu on the mat. And I think like that's my goal, to answer your question. Go from doing that to helping people to do that. Whenever my students are able to do that, it's my time to get out of the spotlight.
And I think that's gonna help the sport to grow a lot, because I think many times people don't do Jiu-Jitsu for a living because they don't see this career path. You know, like they just see like, okay, what if I win the world? What's gonna happen? Sometimes I even get paid. You know, like, so if we're able to provide them this career path, I think a lot more people will start like doing this for.
And I think it comes a lot with like, whenever you're leading, you need to do it first. You know, you need to show people the way, like you not just tell them. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, I want to be able to do it, to tell them, look, like I did that, and that's what worked, and then that's what doesn't work. And I want them to have the same trust that they have when I talk to them about how to think as a competitor, how to win, because I was able to win 4 times. Whenever I say something, they believe. I want to have the same approach as a coach, and I want them to have like the same, like see my image as a coach the same way they see my image as a competitor, you know, and that's why I have to accomplish a lot as a coach, because to build someone all the way up to become a coach that builds champions, like you need to do it first, and that's what I want to do.
That's amazing. Yeah, so guys, Gui has shot 2 instructional videos with us for BJJ Fanatics, understanding the top distance while passing, understanding the distance from guard. And we can't wait for the next one. I love the idea about the back attack, but you are the mindset behind that. So Gui, thanks so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I'm glad I'm here like one day after you achieve this new dream. You know, like.
Thank you guys, and like man, it's been so fun. Like, it's the first time that I'm getting a lot of messages from people that gets the instructional, and like they send like a feedback of like what they felt about it, and how much like the instruction has helped them to like figure out, like not just like I don't think it like this kind of like the instructionals, like they only help your game, but they help your vision in jiu-jitsu. They give you that. I think they open the doors for you to study as much as you want, you know, and I think this is the most important. Like I was explaining, like we study jiu-jitsu a lot. I watch matches and I try to recognize positions and systems and like things to implement, and that needs to be done. I was explaining to you, like Tainan won the finals using 50-50, but we had a purpose on that. Like we saw that Gabriel Arches was able to do it first. Like every time he fights Izaki, he is able to attack Isaki's back with the 50-50. So like by studying and seeing someone making the mistake more than one time, you see the pattern, and then when you find that pattern in someone's game and you see that mistake, you try to attack it. As a world champion, as a coach for someone that's in the finals of worlds, you need to create the smartest strategy and find the easiest way for the person to accomplish that goal. And it worked yesterday.
No, it's funny to hear you saying that, because that's exactly what scientists does. They try to find patterns and work on those patterns to. No, that's amazing.
I think this is the power of studying. You know, like I love it. Like I love studying jiu-jitsu. I love watching. Like I love watching techniques. I love watching fights. I like to connect both. So I see the technique and then I try to watch the fights and see, like that's how he's doing it. It's working. So a lot of the people that watch the instructionals, like top and bottom, whenever you watch my students competing, I'm 1000% sure that you guys are gonna see like that system being applied top and bottom, and you're gonna be able to recognize all the techniques.
No, that's incredible. Yeah, so guys, super happy to be here. One day after the World Championship here in the AOJ, one of the nicest schools I've ever been. So thanks so much, Guillermo.
Thank you.
Great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.